another little musical interlude because I, did complete the assignment, and unlike some, and so I have my secret, piece of music, and I'm going to. I don't know what's the best way to really. Well, I'm going to play you a little bit of it first. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about where I was when I heard it for the first time. And then we'll hear a little bit of the music, and then I'll explain why it's important. So.
And Everett is holding the card.
Okay, so this, to say, like Roseanne said before, ish is the defining term of our relationship. We could say that in the early days, what characterized Jim's and my relationship, this is long before we were even, and certainly before we were married. You could say that maybe there was a quality of approach avoidance in our relationship. We knew each other, and I was telling people before, going back to the gorilla thing, Jim has this gorilla thing, okay, and some of you heard this story earlier, but this goes way back for him, and for me, unbeknownst, I didn't even know him. But my father came back from a junior high dance.
I was at that dance.
And yes, and he's laughing about these three guys who showed up at the dance wearing gorilla heads, and I think gorilla hands too, but the heads were the more important thing. And he said, I couldn't do anything because they honored the dress code. They had a jacket and tie on. The dress code didn't say anything about no gorilla heads. So he thought it was great. He thought it was really funny. And I remember him telling us about that, and I thought it was really funny too. I didn't go to that school at the time. And I remember thinking, I really like those guys, whoever they are. I like a guy who would think that way. I like that. I wish I knew, I wish we had guys like that in my school. Well, within the next couple of years, we did actually move to that school. But I never knew that he was the one who showed up at that dance until years later. But I did learn as we went along that these gorilla and stuff were important. and as you see, they reasserted themselves in the Okay. So I knew this guy. I knew him in high school, not in the biblical sense. He was very interesting. I always thought he was very interesting. But we didn't date. And he, then he was a year ahead of me, and he went to college, and I was still in high school, and then I would get these letters from him every now and then. And every now and then a phone call. And he got more and more interesting, and I got more and more interested. But, we're back and forth, that's about it. So one summer, I think I was maybe, by this time, I was junior in college, and you were senior, or something like that. Somewhere in college. He's home for the summer, or you were planning that summer, I don't know what you were doing. I didn't keep tabs on it.
Much, right,
Ish. So he calls and he says to me, after weeks of, we don't have constant communication. He calls and he says, there's this movie. You got to see this movie. What is it? It was Help by the Beatles. You got to see this movie. And I don't know whether that means I need to go out now and see this movie, or he and I are actually going to go see this movie. It's a little ambiguous. And he said, so how about Saturday we go see this movie. I'm like, yes, yes. So
The happy
he-
dance.
Yes, the happy dance. So he actually comes in his little Hillman car and picks me up, and we go to the movies. And that's like almost a date.
It is a date.
So we go to the movies, had a great time. I loved the movie. I laughed. And he had seen it before, maybe even a couple of times before. But anyway, I just loved it. And so we're sitting out in front of my house after this evening, which was really fun. And we're talking, sitting in the
Grandma's
sun,
lighting the light on and off.
going on, talking. And then, getting to be time to go. And he says to me, I suppose if I wanted to hang out with you, I would have to clean up my act. And I said, well, yes. And he said, I'm not ready to do that. Off he goes again, over the horizon, So I, okay, then that was that for a while, and I then proceed to finish up college, and he, because of some unpleasantness, I don't know, breaking the probing system, or I forgot what you did at college, but you did something and needed to take a time out from college. So by the time I graduated, he was also graduating. So I had finished my exams, and I'm a senior now. I finished my exams, and there was this lapse of time before graduation, and I hadn't heard from him for a while. We had done a few letters that year, and I had a phone call. He went to Tuscaloosa to work with the Southern Courier, and I heard about that, and we were in touch-ish, So I decide, what is this anyway? I'm thinking to myself, okay, why don't here I have this week, and my life hasn't really begun. I'm in this interim period in my life. Why don't I just go to Hamilton and see what happens? Do I know whether Jim is still at Hamilton? No. Do I know if he's involved with somebody? No. I know nothing. I go to Hamilton. I get on a train. I go to
A train, not a bus.
No, train. I got on a train. I went to Hamilton.
Yeah.
I just went.
Would it matter?
And I kind of knew what dorm he was in, because I think it was on some return address or something. And I take a cab to the campus, and I ask some guy, do you know where this dorm is? And he shows me, and they're in final exams. They haven't finished yet. So I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe he's still here, but then again, maybe not. So I go to the dorm, and then I'm not going to go in that dorm, because I don't want to, if he has a date, if he has a girl up there, I don't want to make a scene, I don't want to embarrass him, And so I asked somebody, do you know Jim Wilsey? Yeah. And I said, could you go up and see if he's in there? And ask him to come out for a minute? Yeah, I'll check. And I'm thinking, he's probably not there. So, in fact, he was there. And he comes out. And so, what does he say to me? The first words he says to me after, do you remember what you said? After, we're not being in communication, he says, I've been expecting you. And actually he thought, and there was some reality to that, because he saw me and he thought, oh, well, I was up for your, Colgate's graduation, because I was dating some guy at Colgate at the time. So he figured I was up for that. And he said, oh, yeah, you're here for Scotland's graduation. I said, oh, no, I'm not. I said, I'm not. He said, oh. I was like, oh. So I ended up staying there for a few days and washed my little dress out. and at one point we had this really nice picnic, and he said, and we were talking, and he said, "So why did you come?" And I said, "Well, I came to find out why I came." And that was as close as I could get. So while I was there, Jim played for me this music that you're about to hear. Now you're going to know what it is.
Is music time now?
Yeah.
I almost picked this too.
Huh?
I almost picked this too.
That's not what you wrote on the card, though, is it?
He doesn't remember what he wrote on the card.
I got it.
Okay, so is what you have on your card forest flower?
Charles Lloyd.
Charles Lloyd, yes. Charles Lloyd, forest flower. Oh, so you did guess it. Oh, he did. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So.
Hey now.
That's nice.
And
Moish, look at what I wrote on it.
It says feelings.
This feelings.
oh,
No, but,
you didn't guess it.
no, I didn't.
I think he was close.
It was.
starts with
This
an
is
F.
the guy who says, "I've been expecting you." Yeah. I wrote it on the card. I knew it all along.
Yeah.
And this is the guy who had to be leaning against the building in Athens, right? That's
I
right.
got a postcard.
Sweating from sprinting around the back,
4
yeah.
blocks, and so I can be. Yeah. I've been. That's all along.
That's a good story. That's a good
Okay,
story.
so now I'll tell you what it is about this piece of music. What it is that Jim, we're it's the two of us in his dorm suite, and he's finished with his exams, and he said, I have to play you this music. He said, I heard this a while ago. He said, it's just fabulous. You have to hear it. You have to hear it. I really love it. And he played it, and it was the most beautiful music it was music I had never heard before. And it was music that I really loved. But what grabbed me was how desperate he was to share it with me. And it was more intense than, hey, I saw this really great movie I want you to see. This was like, this music, you have to hear this music. And his face was all like this, and he was watching me and watching how I was, reacting to the music. And it's kind of a long piece, and I really loved it. It was like making me go out of my skin, and he was loving that I was loving it. And I think that in terms of a marriage, to be with somebody who can't wait to show you what they love and share it with you is a very important and sustaining thing. And I remember thinking at the time, yep, that's what I want. But I also thought, I wasn't really sure whether we were going to work out. But I remember thinking to myself, I really want this. I want this sharing. This, I can't wait to tell you, show you. No, I can't wait to show you this. I can't wait for you to hear this, see this, taste this. That's what I want. And I think that that's important. That's sustaining. I think that's good. So, that's my guy. That's my guy.